Oh, it Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler. It's Hawkeye. It's the end. Episode 6, the finale of Hawkeye. It's here. Finally, I have waited a long time for this to end. If you don't know already, if this is the first review you've watched for some reason of any of my Hawkeye reviews, I have been very critical of this show because it feels so rushed, so poorly edited, directed, written, acted. It feels so cheap, basic, and simplistic that nothing about it was genuinely good or entertaining. And it just hit every single box it needed to be a piece of content within the cinematic universe it's a part of that makes people think it's special. Hawkeye is terrible. Terrible. I was like, do I have something else to say? No, it's just bad. It's just poorly made. And this finale, I know there's going to be some people like, yes, this is so good. I'm like, no, it's not. This finale doesn't tie up any of its loose ends except for the obvious ones that needed to. It is all over the place. It is rushing into scenarios. And it is so fast energy that it just doesn't have time to let anything really sit or resonate with you. So last episode, we got the tease of the Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio is reprising his role. The first couple minutes of this episode are dedicated to his reintroduction. And he's good. I don't know what they did, but they filmed him in a new way where he looks bulkier and tougher, which is kind of cool. I want to come back to that in a bit here because it's fascinating to me what they do with his character without this, which I'm okay with. Look, if you want to introduce Kingpin, that's fine. I couldn't care less. Is it going to be as good as the interpretation we saw in Daredevil? I don't know, just because it's such a small amount we saw of him here, and they didn't do anything special with it. It's just like, I'm the top boss. Like, I literally have nothing else to do. We learned that Eleanor Bishop, Kate's mother, is the one that killed Armand. I guess her ex-husband or her dead husband had some debts she needed to pay off, so she got work with the Kingpin, and she killed Armand to do that. I don't know. It's like, whatever. So that's that whole storyline with, I think, Jacques, Armand, Eleanor. You could have scrapped that entire storyline, and if you focused just on Kate wanting to be with Clint and the Maya stuff, it would just be a little more interesting. Or focused, I should say, as opposed to just random moments where Kate has to run into her mother and have their conversation. They wrap it up quickly. She is charged. The mom gets arrested. Jacques didn't do anything. Jacques is actually just here to whip out a sword in the last episode and fight some tracksuit mafia, which it's Chekhov's sword. At some point, he was either going to get killed with his own sword or he was going to use it as a weapon. It makes sense to me that they use it as a weapon because he's an actual character they can do stuff with. So cool. He looks like he was having fun for a little bit there. I don't know what happened the previous 5 episodes. I mean, he was good, but he was hardly the best part. He was good. I did like Troy there. Tony Dalton, right? Yeah. He was fine. I don't know. This show just frustrates me to no end, and I just find it utterly exhausting. So once again, it tries to do this thing that happened in the Fraction and Aja run, where we have to go to a swanky dinner party, get dressed up, and all the elites are evil people. Die Hard happens. Clint kind of gets shot out by Kazi from across the building in another space, and it just turns into an escalating adventure leading to a skating rink because it's Christmas. I'm trying not to sound too negative on this show because it's just too easy for me. I just mean, like, Renner looks so bored. Nobody looks like they're having fun. It's so lazy. I think the best actual, like, chemistry on the show is from Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld. But I think that solely comes from Florence just acting up and just having the reactions from Haley. Because, look, Yelena's doing a lot in this episode, aside from looking great and green and having some really good hair. She is literally carrying the emotional beats, literally having an actual plot to care about. Her plot pretty much, like, echoes, no pun intended, the plot of Maya, where it's, like, kind of avenging a family member. But Yelena's feels more authentic because we saw her, but just more because she is just on a warpath, where Maya kind of has, like, questions. They don't get answered to her completely, so she just changes abruptly. She lets her hair down. She literally it's just, I'm okay with it. I'm honestly okay with it, but it's like her whole changes. She just lets her hair down so she's not like the tough badass girl working for the tracksuit mafia anymore. It's kind of weird, but okay. If that's what this show needed to do to show Maya changing into the version we're going to see in her own television program, that's fine by me. I won't complain about that at all. It just works fine. There's a scene that is shot for shot from the comic books where she kills Wilson Fisk. He's not dead because you don't bring Vincent D'Onofrio back just to kill him off. I'm sorry, you just don't. You know what you're doing with that character. You're not going to bring him back to get killed. So he's the big bad. I'm just trying to eternalize the plot here. Eleanor is arrested, so she's not a threat anymore. Jacques' a good guy, so he's helping us take down some tracksuit mafia. Maya turns good, and I think she kills Kazi, or she fights Kazi and disarms him so he can't be any harm. She takes down Fisk. So Maya pretty much takes down, like, the big bads of the show, pretty much, like, all the named villains, leaving Clint and Kate to kind of fight the rest of the Tracksuit Mafia, which is, I guess, kind of cute. They have a moment earlier, I should say, where it's just like, we're building the bow and arrow weapons, the arrows, trick arrows. Here we go. We're building them all. They're going to be fun weapons for us to use later. They do that, and it's an okay scene. Again, if you're interested in this, I'm sure it's cute to you, but if you're just somebody who is tired of it, I'm just like, we know, you already built the trick arrows. I still don't understand where Clint's getting all the resources from. I understand the LARPers building their costumes, but where's he getting the resources from all of this? Because you have like a safe house somewhere, like a stash? Because they never explain it. They just have them in the next scene, and it's weird. So they both have to jump from a big building. Kate does okay. Clint lands in a tree. He gets stuck in a tree. There's an owl in the tree. That owl's going to come back. Kate knocks down the tree. Clint gets out of the tree. They're on ice, and they're fighting the Tracksuit Mafia. It's okay looking. It's probably the second best looking shot of the series. The first one, of course, being in episode 3 when they're driving the car down the street. It's one continuous take. It looks okay. Again, very cheap looking, where it's just like we're going to have people run towards them. They fire a fake arrow. The person falls down. And we'll add in the explosions or the magnets or the stupid nail one. Oh, that was just weird to me. Like, that's a dangerous weapon. They freeze a guy's leg at one point. I'm like, what the hell is that? That's you're taking that leg off. That's all I'm saying. And speaking of that owl, this was really weird. So they use another pin particle arrow. They shrink a van that's coming towards them. The people inside get shrunk too, and then an owl just takes off with the van. They literally just killed those guys. It's just weird. It was really weird and didn't really need to happen, but whatever. I guess we had some leftover money in the budget for that scene. You know, I did say that the Florence and Haley relationship was great. There's a nice scene on the elevator where there's like, why'd you hit me? What are you doing here? And she's trying to hit the button and Yelena's slapping her away. It's kind of cute. There's a nice tracking shot following them fight through like a level of the offices. But there is resolution to that plot line for anybody interested. Yelena comes here. She was hired by Eleanor, but she wanted to come here anyways because she wanted to kill Clint. So it's just like double duty or whatever. I don't even know what's going on. So yeah, that's what was happening, right? Yelena was going to come anyways, but she got a job to come here to deal with Clint anyways. So okie dokie. Clint knows the secret whistle and everything about Yelena, apparently. And I don't understand why he had to beat around the bush with, like, she knows who Thanos is, right? She'd know who Thanos is. So why did he have to be like, she sacrificed herself? You wouldn't believe if I told you. I think she would. She was blipped, dude. She'd understand that the big guy did it. And they kind of just, I guess, resolve it because he knows the whistle and everything's hunky-dory. Terrible acting from Renner. Just bored the entire way through. Doesn't look interested or entertained by any of the shit happening. It is so frustrating to see. It is so annoying to see because you just want him to look like he wants to be in any scene he's in. And he doesn't look like he wants to be there at all, so it sucks. It gets resolved very quickly. Literally, it's an hour-long episode, and you don't feel a second of it because it's all over the place and none of it is cohesive or interesting. And I did kind of mention earlier, there's a scene with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin I wanted to talk about. I was watching some people online talk about, oh, this Kingpin's so much tougher than the Netflix version. He's so much like, look, he could take arrows in the chest and he could just walk away from it. He could throw people around. I'll give you this. He looks bigger, but he's not tougher. And the reason he's not tougher is it takes him like 5 fucking throws to even put a dent in Kate. Kate is a small girl, right? He's just tossing her around all over the place, and she's getting up fun. She's a little dizzy, but yeah, if you threw anybody, they'd be dizzy. You know, we'd seen him beat up Matt Murdock a bunch. That looks like it was painful and hard, but he's just lossily tightened this girl. So I don't think he's stronger than the Netflix version. I just think he's lazier. And he just looks bigger because he's lazier. He literally just looks like, instead of doing like the punch, he's just like the, get away. I'm just a big force of like nature. Get the hell out of here. That's what I think. He's got some cool suits though. He does have the cane. I think he wears purple pants in one scene. He does have a shirt that he wears in a Spider-Man comic. Great. I don't care. It's great. I get it. It's fine. Whatever. This show has just been so frustrating. And nothing really goes the way you're expecting or you want it to. So that's pretty much that's it. That is literally it. It's this one climactic ending where all of our characters literally meet in a skating rink. They all have their resolution. They all kill one another. They all shoot their arrows. Eleanor's arrested. Who knows what happens to Jacques? He doesn't show up after he goes to fight people. There's a really annoying scene where the LARPers try to be taken seriously, so they put on their LARPing suits, and that's how they get the respect to people. I know LARPers in real life. Putting on your suit in public and telling people what to do is how you lose respect. Nobody who LARPs is going to get respect when there's an emergency happening and you're directing people. I'm sorry, you're just not. It's a fun bit, whatever, but it's not going to work. Another thing, I do want to talk about this briefly because it's just, I have to say it. They used Pizza Dog as a marketing tool because he's not in the movie at all. He's barely in it, and he's in every shot of the trailer. He's on every poster. Why? Why even put the dog in? What was the point of the dog? Just to use it as a marketing ploy that you look like My Life as a Weapon. That's it. If you didn't try to make yourself look like My Life as a Weapon, you wouldn't be so frustratingly disappointing when it was nothing like that comic. Oh, it sucks. But there is one scene that I hated so much that I'm actually not going to talk about it because I'm going to do a separate video in the new year about it. I just need to collect my thoughts on this. So, as predicted, conflict resolution solved. We're going to get home in time for Christmas. To my surprise, there's actually a frame in the entire episode where Linda Cardellini and Jeremy Renner are on screen together. I thought they would have filmed those at different times so we'd never see them in the same room. They're together. They did it. They found a way to make that work. There's some conflict resolution with the watch that was so important to find. The stuff with the watch, I'm not going to talk about. And it's not going to be for the reason people think. The watch is connected to a character, and I really have a lot of thoughts on what that character means, and what I need to say about that is for another video. Kate comes to Christmas because why not? And we just burn the Ronin suit. So, did Clint kill Maya's dad, or was that somebody else altogether? Why was Jacques Ducan, he doesn't have to be here. There's no reason for that character to be swordsman. The LARPers didn't add anything but a place for Clint to stay at one point. And Eleanor really wasn't interesting. If you just, like, had both her parents killed, and I know Eleanor's a character in the comics, I get it. If you had both her parents killed and Kate was kind of, like, connected to Maya, more so, where it's just kind of like she's always emulated Hawkeye, and she was kind of, like, raised similar to the way that Maya was raised, I think there'd just be more cinematic parallels as opposed to the girl who comes from nothing, who kills her abuser, to the rich kid who just gets everything she wants. They're both satisfying, I guess, but they don't really have any resolution. Yeah, just whatever, man. I'm just glad it's over because I can't keep doing this. Hawkeye is a favorite character of mine. Clint Barton is the character that got me into comic books. I connected to him. I respected him. I admired him. I hated everything that they've done of Jeremy Renner's interpretation of the character. And this had solidified that this was literally just filler. It was nothing. There was no point to any of this except to introduce Maya, Kate, and Wilson Fisk. That's all this was. The post-credit scene I thought was amazing. Not because the musical looks good, just because people wanted something else. And I hate when people get what they want. So I liked that it was just something dumb and the full I Can Do This All Day song. Would I go see Rogers the Musical? No. I'd shoot myself before I saw that because it looks terrible and cheap and annoying. They got an actual composer to play like the composer, which is cool, I guess. That's fun. But Hawkeye, terrible, boring, just everything that is wrong about the MCU can be presented here. Cash grabs, nothingness, lazy acting, lazy jokes, lazy character introductions, a necessity to build on its own self without actually telling a compelling story, terrible retcons, just trying to do so much that it doesn't actually accomplish anything, all under the guise of Christmas. So, Hawkeye sucked. I'm glad I don't have to talk about it anymore, except for my big in-depth discussion I will be having with Zach in the upcoming weeks, hopefully before the end of the year. If not, in the new year, you'll hear me bitch in detail about how much I hate this show. So thank you guys for watching this review of Hawkeye. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.